Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Parker. Welcome back once again to another Call of Duty Mobile video today. Currently in the Battle Royale for Call of Duty Mobile, there's a total of 6 classes that are available for right now, with the 7th one coming soon. Those 6 classes are the Scout class, the Clown, the Medic, the Ninja, the Defender, and then the Mechanic. And I do want to mention that this is just my own personal opinion. For me personally, I love jumping into the Battle Royale in this game and just trying to kill the most amount of people possible, so probably my bias in terms of the best classes will be more of the aggressive types of classes out there. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we might as well just jump right into it. The worst class in Call of Duty Mobile Battle Royale has to be the Clown class. The only people who use this class are clowns. Okay, just settle down. I'm just memeing. The main ability for the Clown class is that it summons zombies that only attacks units nearby them. And to be honest, that ability can be useful in certain situations. Let's say, for example, someone is camping in a house and he's just waiting for you to come in so, you know, he can go and kill you. And obviously, he has something like a Striker or a BY-15, so just the moment you go up a staircase and you see him is the moment that you're probably just going to be shot dead. But with the Clown class, rather than pushing the building, all you have to do is just toss the monkey bomb where he's located and he'll be forced to come out. It's not like the zombies are easy to kill, and they do run at you in somewhat of a fast pace, so just in situations like that, the class can come in somewhat clutch. For all other situations, the class can be pretty useless. If you're outside of the open, you can easily maneuver around the zombies if you're the enemy and just choose not to fight them. The important thing is though, is to not stay near the monkey bomb itself. It does detonate and can cause severe damage to not only the enemies, but you as well. And then finally, for the passive ability, it reduces the zombie awareness distance to 15 meters. This passive ability is kind of mediocre in my opinion, because if you're already that far away from the zombies, you should have no worries with being in any immediate danger, and you should be able to avoid them pretty easily. But with that said, the Clown class really isn't that bad of a class. It's just the worst one out of all of them. The second worst class in Call of Duty Mobile Battle Royale is the Defender class. Even though it's the second worst class on this list, this class is one of my guilty pleasures. I love just trolling people with this and just hearing their reactions. The main ability for this Defender class is that it places a transformable and flashing shield. Yeah, that's right. The moment you go and place this down, it will act very similar to like a flashbang grenade and just white out the enemy's vision anywhere between 3 to 5 seconds depending on how far away the enemy is from that shield. And this is where you can get some pretty funny voice reactions. I've had children screaming, just people raging, and just blindly shooting after going and placing the shield down. So like I said, it is one of my just guilty pleasures, but it still can be a useful class. The shield can act as a legitimate place for cover if someone is shooting at you. Also, if someone is coming straight at you with something like a vehicle, all you have to do is just place down the shield and they'll be stopped just straight up dead in their tracks. So don't ask me about the logistics of that, but it still can be useful. For your passive ability, your character reduces damage from all sources except for gunfire by 20%. This is actually kind of huge. You'll receive less damage from things like grenades, getting hit by a car, etc. just by having this class equipped. Overall, the Defender class isn't really that bad, but there are a few other ones that we're going to go and mention that are just a little bit better. I have a feeling this is where the video is going to get a little controversial. The next class is the Ninja class. A lot of people, especially in my streams, were telling me that Parker, the Ninja class was amazing and that I should start using it as my main. But the more I use this class, the more I just thought it was very average. The main ability is that you can shoot a grapple hook that pulls you to a targeted location. The thing is though, that the range with the grapple hook just isn't as long as you'd expect it to be. When I use this class, I always felt like I was just constantly spamming the launch button because it would just never go off when I wanted it to. Don't get me wrong, you can use this class to grapple into areas where other players can't go, and you could just gain an advantage by going and doing so, but I just felt like the range needed to be increased in order for it to go higher on this list here. For the passive ability, your character reduces sound when moving. I feel like this is a really solid passive ability ability. If you're in the final circle of a game and you want to sneakily kill an enemy, with having essentially dead silence here with this class, you'll be able to easily do exactly that. Overall, the Ninja class is just a few tweaks away from being the best class in Call of Duty Mobile Battle Royale. Okay, another controversial placement here has to go to the Mechanic class. I have this one at the third best class so far in Call of Duty Mobile Battle Royale. And to be completely honest, this isn't really that bad of a class whatsoever, and it really does just fit my aggressive playstyle. The main ability is that it calls in an EMP drone that does continuous EMP interference to enemies. When the drone comes in contact with an enemy, the enemy can't aim down sight, and his movement is reduced significantly. Also, the drone can interfere with the enemy for 5 to 10 seconds depending on the point of contact with the drone. And I just gotta say this, that I've died so many times when the drone has interfered with me, and in my opinion, I just truly believe this is the most annoying class so far in the Battle Royale. Now, it's the most annoying if you are the enemy, but if you're the one using the class, it can be extremely helpful when going and pushing people. You're essentially removing the enemy's movement skills and putting him in the most difficult situational gunfight of their life. Alongside the drone as the main ability, the passive ability is also helpful. The passive ability grants augmented sight, making vehicles, hostile traps, and equipment visible within 80 meters. This can be helpful when trying to find vehicles, or if an enemy set up a trap, you can just easily avoid it. And to be completely fair, this passive ability is probably the second best passive ability out of all the other passive abilities on this list. On a final note, I had a really hard time placing this at the number 3 spot because it really is a solid class, but we might as well go on to the number 2 one here. The second best class on this list is the Medic class. The main ability for the Medic is that it places a medical station that heals you and allies continuously. This might surprise a couple of you guys, but this class was actually my main when I first started out on this game. I love the Medic class in the beginning because rather than finding a gun and health right away when hot dropping, all I needed was just a gun. If I did happen to get hurt when fighting enemies in a hot drop location, I would just hide for a couple seconds while using my Medic class until I was at somewhat of a reasonable health and then would just continue fighting. But in terms of solo play, the Medic class is a very average class. But the moment you hop into something like squads, for example, the Medic class is the best supporting class one can have. Since it does not only just heal you, but your teammates, this class can come in clutch, especially when your team is low on heals, or if they want to keep engaging in a gunfight and they don't have time to heal on their own. Also, the passive ability is pretty huge. The passive ability reduces time for healing and bringing back knockdown players by 25%. Now, this is the best passive ability out of all the other passive abilities on this list. By reducing the amount of time it takes to heal yourself, you can better engage in a gunfight, and you can even surprise the enemy with how fast you can heal. Also, reviving down teammates faster can help with the surprise factor as well. If the enemy knocked down your teammates and they're pushing you, by the time they come near you, if you revived your teammates hopefully, the enemies can be thrown off, which could then give you an advantage in that gunfight. Overall, the Medic class is just such a great class to have and is essential in squad play. So at this point of the video, you probably already know what the best class is, and yes, it has to go to the Scout class. The main ability for the Scout class is that it shoots a sensor dart that can see hostile positions on the radar map. It's essentially like having a close-range UAV for 10 seconds. I love this class so much, and I'm ranking it at the number 1 spot here because knowing enemy locations is probably the most useful tool when it comes to winning a Battle Royale game. With the ability to know where players are at, you have just so much information at your fingertips. If too many enemies are in a specific location, you can choose to back off from a gunfight. If you see only one enemy on the minimap and you can see that he has his back turned, you can just go and push him and get an easy kill. Like I mentioned, knowing enemy locations is huge. Furthermore, the passive ability is also amazing. The passive ability shows enemy footsteps for several seconds. So even though your main ability is offline, you can still know the location of where your enemies were just at. I've used the passive ability so much in terms of hunting people down when they were just trying to go and run away from me, and it clearly highlights their footsteps so you just know their exact movement. With that said, I love this class so much much and truly do believe that it's the best class currently so far in this game. Now, even though the Airborne class isn't in this game yet, and I know I shouldn't be making an opinion on it just because I haven't even used it yet, but just based off these descriptions, you could kind of have an understanding of what this is going to be like. And also, I did see about 5 seconds worth of gameplay of the Airborne class as well, so you can kind of understand what it's going to be like. But for the main ability, the ejection device, it summons a catapult, which ejects your team into the air and turns on the wing to glide. And I did actually see how high up you can go, and you could go extremely high up in the air. It truly is like an ejection type of missile thing in which you get launched in the air and you could like really fly wherever you want. So I can see that main ability being helpful in terms of going from one town to the next town, or getting from the bad zone all the way into the safe zone with just like one simple class here. And then for the passive ability, which is called lightweight, you become more buoyant when using the wingsuit, so you could fly a lot longer distances when your wingsuit is activated. Now, in terms of this class being useful, just based off those descriptions and then the 5 seconds worth of gameplay, and like I mentioned, I do understand I shouldn't be having an opinion on this, but just based off all that stuff that I mentioned, I don't see this being the best class or the second to best class or even like the third to best class. I can kind of see the Airborne class being right between the Defender and then the Ninja class. Like, don't get me wrong, I could see this being useful in terms of getting from a higher elevated location, like getting from a better location than what the enemy might be in, especially if you're right there in the final circle. And one of the better positions is just to be on top of a mountain here. You could just simply place down this Airborne class, get to the top of that mountain, and be pretty much all set to go. But it doesn't really have that direct of an influence in terms of winning a game and or just like killing enemies. And I do want to mention that I did a poll on Twitter with like 283 votes in which I asked you guys, what do you believe is the best class so far in Call of Duty Mobile? And coming in at number 1, we had 88 votes for the Scout class, which is actually the number 1 spot here. At the number 2 class, we have the Defender class with 44 votes, which is insane in my opinion, but hey, that's just you guys going in, you know, putting in your own results here. The number 3 spot, it was the Mechanic class with 42 votes. At the number 4 spot, we had the Clown class with 40. At the number 5 spot, we had the Ninja class with 38. And then, even though I put this at the number 2 spot, it would appear that this is the least popular out of all you guys. Coming in at the final spot here, we had the Medic with 36 votes. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to go and conclude the video today. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in and watching. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want more of these types of videos, feel free to go and give the video a like, as well as just leave a comment down below with what do you believe is the best class so far in Call of Duty Mobile Battle Royale. If you guys are interested in watching me going and playing Call of Duty Mobile live, be sure to go and check out Call of Duty Mobile TV. There will be a link to it down below in the description, as well as in the pinned comment. As well as if you guys have a crazy or funny moment in Call of Duty Mobile, feel free to go and submit it to Call of Duty Mobile Clips, which is another channel that I run. There will be a link down below in the description, as well as in the pinned comment for that. By going and submitting a clip, you have a chance to go and win 800 COD points, so that's just a way to go and earn, you know, free COD points there. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for tuning in and watching. With that said, my name is Parker. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful and fabulous day, because I certainly am, and I guess I'll talk to you guys in the next video.